on this. There we go. On this Tuesday afternoon. Got a little nervous there for a second, Paul. We have a lot to talk about. I want to make sure we can talk with you because you're tracking a severe thunderstorm warning right now.
Yeah, just popped up in Saratoga County, Sabrina. And this particular storm has some hail with it. Mark just came in here, and you're going to hear from Mark also. But he just showed me some video that he got of 1-inch hail and just to the east of Saratoga Springs. And this particular thunderstorm also has wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. Right now, on the first warning live Doppler, this is just crossing over the Hudson River, right around Schuylerville. It's also raining heavily and even some hail out toward Greenwich and approaching Cambridge. This thunderstorm warning is in effect until 2:30. So gusty winds, heavy downpours, and also some hail, along with thunder and lightning, of course, with this particular cell. It did pop up sort of impromptu here over the last, let's say, 30 to 60 minutes. It was weak at first, and now we're seeing it track to the southeast at about 15. So here are the communities that will be impacted by at least heavy rain, perhaps some gusty winds and hail. Easton at 222, at Scotticoke, right over into Rensselaer County. You can see just at the edge of the box there at 242. And then eventually over into Pittstown shortly after 3 o'clock. We'll see if this storm remains severe past the, let's say, 2:15, 2:20 timeframe. Now, normally, we'd look out from Saratoga Springs here, and we'd see this billowing cloud with thunder and lightning and a bunch of rain. But we have all that wildfire smoke, which is also making headlines across the region, and it's obscuring our view into the storm. So it's out there, but it's just difficult to see because of all that wildfire smoke, which is why we rely on the radar. And you can see here on the first warning live Doppler that explosion of thunder activity and rain and hail over easternmost Saratoga County and now into Washington County. So we'll be tracking this at least for the next half hour. And it looks like some of the heavier downpours could reach into Rensselaer County as well by about 2:30. So scattered showers and storms in the forecast for the afternoon. Sabrina, temperatures close to that 70-degree mark.
Paul, you mentioned the hail video that Mark shared with you. Mark is actually here in the 13 Now studio. He's going to be talking about another story, but he has that video. If we could put it up on the screen, and let's see if we can get my... There you go. So he's showing it from his... There you are. So
old pool up overhead, which is producing some of the heavier showers, but with that cold air aloft, it's coming down as some hail in spots. So,
Mark, tell us where that video was taken exactly.
It was taken in Northumberland about 10 minutes ago. The people who shot it and sent it to us said it's about hail that's about 1 inch in diameter.
There you go. First-hand weather report, Paulie.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mark. I'm gonna minimize the screen for a second because I just got a report from the National Weather Service as well. Let's see what it is. Thunder in Stillwater, Saratoga County, cloudy ground lightning there as well, right at 2 o'clock. Ballard Corners, 1-inch hail in Saratoga County. So it's from the same storm. So again, we'll be tracking this with time across portions of Washington and Rensselaer counties and out of Saratoga County, Sabrina. So something to watch along with that smoke that we've been talking about.
Okay, lots to look at, Paul. I'll let you go. I know you're busy. Thank you very much. We will get the latest from you, of course, live at 4. And if there are any more warnings, you will obviously be on air at News Channel 13 whenever that is necessary. Right.
All right. See you then.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get to the other story. The reason why we have Mark in here is because he's been working on a 13 Investigates piece related to death threats to prominent local defense attorneys. So, Mark, these are attorneys who are being targeted because of who they represent?
Yeah, you've seen them probably on our news, Sabrina. People who represent clients who are accused of heinous crimes. It's become, according to them, they're increasingly feeling the wrath of an angry public. Back in the day, if someone was angry about some crime or something that had been done in the community, they might write a letter. It might take a week to get to the newspaper. It might take another week till it appears in the newspaper. Now it's instant. It's instant anger and immediate posting. And we've spoken to a couple of high-profile defense attorneys, people who are representing clients who are, we've all seen and heard, Nauman Hussein, his attorney, Kevin Monahan, the man who is accused of shooting and killing Kaylin Gillis. We talked to his attorney, Kurt Mossert, and he tells us that the angry public often views him very much the same as his client, and his client, according to them, is already guilty. So he tells us about some of the threats that he's received, some of the horrible threats, quite frankly. In fact, we interviewed Kurt Mossert, and he describes to us some of what he's had to deal with, including a phone call which talked about doing serious harm to his son.
When someone sends you a bunch of middle finger emojis saying that you're evil, you don't deserve to live, and they wish you were dead too, that's not the same as coming out and saying, I'm going to be on the next bus down there and I'm going to kill you. But it's certainly alarming. Someone calls my office and says, I wonder what your kid would look like with a bullet in his head, which is what that phone call was about from that untraceable number. Do I take that seriously? Yeah, I take that seriously.
Yeah, and that particular phone call, he got police involved. It came into his Saratoga Springs office, and he got police involved. And he said the most frustrating part of that, they came to his office, they tried to call the number back, but they had spoofed. They had used an app or technology which allows them to appear to be a local number. So you think it's a local number, that you're receiving a local call, and it turns out it's not. It was a spoof. We also learned during the course of this investigation that it's not just defense attorneys, that prosecutors, as we've seen with Alvin Bragg in the Donald Trump cases, that prosecutors also get threats. We've talked to some prosecutors as part of this story too. So we'll hear from them all beginning live at 4 tonight.
These are, as we mentioned, longtime attorneys, prominent attorneys in the area. They've been doing this for a very long time. Is this something newer for them?
Yeah, they say they've always come. In fact, Lee Kinlan tells an interesting story. He's a military veteran, a war veteran, in fact, served in Fallujah for 7 months. He says he feels like he's immune to people wanting to kill him because of his time spent in the military, which is certainly an interesting perspective. And Kurt Mossert, he's an interesting guy as well. He lost a brother. He was 21 when his brother was killed. So he has this interesting perspective as well. He also is a gun expert, a martial arts expert. So he is always very much aware that people may want to harm him. So the attorneys we spoke to bring some interesting perspectives to this story.
Certainly a side and a conversation we don't normally have with attorneys like this. Mark, looking forward to, I know you've been working on this for quite some time now, so looking forward to seeing the full piece starting at 4 this
Yes.
afternoon. All right. Thank you so much,
You're
Mark.
welcome.
Let's give you another look outside at that smoke that and haze that Paul has been talking about. This is a view of the Bennington Monument right now. We got this picture in from one of our viewers, Frank from Bennington, saying he took this picture of the Bennington Battle Monument looking west. You can see the smoke and the haze that Paul was talking about from the wildfires in Canada. And another view of a picture. This is from the Collins, sending us in from North River, of a view of the smoke in the Adirondacks. So get to another interesting story. My colleague Dan Levy is here in the studio now. He has been working on this for the past couple of days. And this is a scam related to actor Kevin Costner and a local woman who unfortunately says she fell for it.
Yeah, this is a very sad story, unfortunately, Sabrina. This is a married couple. They've been together for 43 years, and they've been scammed out of half of their life savings, which amounts to a little more than $70,000, all because of her infatuation with the TV series Yellowstone and because of her adoration for one of the stars of that show, Kevin Costner. Here's what happened earlier this year.
Nothing they can do. Filling out the report, it was just going to sit on the desk.
This woman was so upset, she got onto the
Start
fan.
that part one more time, Dan. I'm sorry, because we lost your mic. So this started with when the Golden Globes, none of the awards were given to Yellowstone actors?
That's correct. People would refer to that as being snubbed. Yellowstone is one of the most watched TV series in America. It's very popular. It doesn't mean they're going to get awards. And the Golden Globes did not award them any of the statuettes or whatever they give them. And so the woman got onto the fan club page and said, "I'm so sorry. You guys deserve this. You guys are fabulous." A couple of days later, she received word back from people that she thought were stars of that series, including Kevin Costner, saying, "Thank you so much. We really appreciate it." And one thing led to another. A few days later, they convinced her to get onto the Facebook Messenger to continue the communication. Well, one thing led to another. They said, "Hey, because you're such a fan, we can make you part of the show. And to help get the ball rolling, if you want to get out here, send us $20,000." She sent $20,000. A few days later, somebody that she believes was Costner started sweet talking her, saying, "Well, you're an attractive woman. I'd like to meet you." And then she was led to believe that Costner bought her a $2 million home and was going to send her a plane to Albany to fly her to California. But he needed money to pay for the new furniture for the new home. And so she went to the bank. She wound up sending 20,000 in cash through the mail, and then many, many Apple cards. It totaled up to $70,000, and they're out the money.
Wow, $70,000. My goodness. You spoke with this woman today.
Spoke with this woman today. I spoke with her husband yesterday. He was unaware that this money was being deducted. He had some health issues, and he was kind of laid up. And so she went to the bank herself, and she had some trouble getting the money out of the bank. I mean, when you go there and say, "Hey, I'd like $20,000, and the bank says, "Well, what do you want it for?" She said, "Well, that's my business." Whether or not the police were called in or whether or not the FBI got involved, that part of the story is coming up beginning at 4 o'clock.
You spoke with this woman. As we said, she didn't want her face on camera, but we have a little clip that we'll play right now from your chat with her. Take a listen.
So I went to the bank and I said I wanted to take out $20,000 of my savings. And she kind of balked. The manager came over. I said, "Look, it's my money. I want to take it out." It's very embarrassing, but they say the right things to a woman, especially an older woman who's not used to being complimented, who's not used to being, adored or anything like that.
So again, Dan, we only saw her feet because she didn't want her face on camera, but there she was describing that interaction at the bank where she asked to take out the money and they said, "Why?" And she said, "It's my money. I can do what I want."
She feels very embarrassed by the whole situation. And this is apparently the last straw. She tells me that it has broken up her marriage. She said her husband is angry and she doesn't believe that he could ever forgive her for what she's done. And they're going separate ways because of this incident.
Unfortunate. Again, if you're just joining us, Dan Levy talking about the so-called Kevin Costner scam, I guess, and a local woman who fell victim to it. Dan, thank you. I know you are looking through all of the interviews right now.
And sadly, not an isolated incident. Apparently, several dozen people have been scammed by this same group of scammers nationwide. More about that later.
Yeah, yes, yeah. You've been doing research on that as well. Dan, thank you so much. We'll see you live at 4. That is your 13 Now update on this busy Tuesday afternoon. I'm Sabrina Dhami. We will see you on air starting live at 4.